This morning, we've got fresh food and fresh art, or as the Italians would call the paintings, frescoes.
Let's go live now to Cortino Restaurant in River North, and that's where our Vince Girasoli is joined live by Italy's leading painters, one of them. Right, Vince?
You know, first of all, I'm lucky for a whole bunch of reasons, but it's this view here that I love. We have to look past John Coletta, the chef here. This is one of the most beautiful views of any restaurant in town, but I'm biased because I see all that salami hanging there, and remember, I'm Italian. But here, John, I guess you consider your food an art form, don't you?
Absolutely. We've got these amazing heirloom tomatoes, which, you know, certainly are in season and are locally grown.
And they look good enough to be painted on the wall. We're going to talk about these heirloom tomatoes in a later report. But you have to meet this fella over here who's painting right now. He is really one of the world's foremost painters of frescoes, and that's the same style of painting that Michelangelo used and Giotto used, and he's been painting for the diners here at Cortino all month long. I'd like you to meet Tristano Casarotto. Thank you very much, Tristano, for joining us. You have painted all over the world, haven't you?
Oh yes, I have been in California, Oregon, Argentina, Venezuela.
More
Thailand,
places than Michelangelo
more
ever
places,
saw.
yeah.
I want to tell you a little bit about frescoes, if you're not familiar with them. And they predate the Renaissance. They go back actually to the first caveman drawings because they were painted on a wet wall. But what happens is, in the Renaissance times, what they did was they put plaster on the wall. And while it was fresh, fresco, or wet, that's when an artist like Tristano would then paint on top or draw on top a picture, and then every once in a while he has to make sure that this is still wet. I don't want to ruin it here, but he spritz on some water and he continues painting. And it's not very forgiving at all. If you make a mistake, it's very hard to fix it. And then what Tristano does to sort of switch things up and change things up is he puts another layer of plaster on top of it, and later on we'll rub off the plaster, and that gives it that old-fashioned antique look. So if you can't go to Italy, you can at least take a look at what the paintings look like here this morning when we speak a little bit later on with Tristano. Ti ringrazio, va bene?
Grazie a voi,
Okay,
grazie a tutti.
If you haven't guessed, he doesn't speak much English. We're also going to learn about heirloom tomatoes, too.
All right.
Thank you,
Sounds good.
Vince.
Thank you, Vince.